Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to my second edition as chairman of the Higher Education Subcommittee. It's February 23rd, 2021, and we're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. And Madam Secretary, please take the roll.
Representatives Baum, Cochran, Darby, Gillespie, Hakeem, Parkinson, Chairman White, Chairman Lafferty. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you for that. Before we get started, are there any personal orders before we begin? Seeing none, we'll move on down the calendar here. We've got two bills up today. Should be pretty quick, and we will start with HB 0083. Who's going to be presenting? Chairman Moon, you are recognized. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, motion. Thank you very much. Properly motion, properly second. Chairman Moon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. This is a repeat for some of the full committee chair from the 112th General Assembly, and for the new members, welcome. The present law establishes the Tennessee Support Training and Renewing Opportunity for National Guard members. The acronym is STRONG, the STRONG program, and it provides tuition reimbursement currently for the first 120 hours of an undergraduate program. The updates that we're proposing in this bill adds 40 hours, 40 semester hours toward a master's degree, and 24 hours of for TCAT certificate programs and TBR programs. It adds in the definitions section under mandatory, it puts mandatory fees as a tuition, part of tuition. In the definition tuition, it adds mandatory fees. And as we all know, lab fees sometimes can be significant. It also addresses something we looked at a year ago. It explicitly says that reimbursement will not be for any doctoral program. So it's 40 hours for a master's, 24 hours for a certificate at TCAT. For accountability, the undergraduate work, you had to maintain a 2.0. The master's program, the bill calls for now 3.0, and for the credential program, significant progress. The ROTC program, the Officer Producing Program, people who have an ROTC scholarship, they have to use that money fully before they can apply for the Strong Act reimbursement. But they also are giving credit, initial 30 hours credit, because in order to complete their program under ROTC, they have to take certain military courses that not necessarily go toward their degree. So they could have up to 150 hours reimbursement. The current program goes away on June 30th, 2021. The update provides for June 30, 2025. Mr. Chairman, that's a snapshot of what the bill does. I'll be ready to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chairman. Do we have any questions? Chairman White?
Thank you very much, Chairman. And Representative Moon, thank you for bringing this again. We had this last year, for those who may remember, and it passed unanimously out of the House. Because of COVID, it didn't make its way through the Senate, so you're bringing it again. About 2 years ago, I met with the National Guard education specialist, I believe her name is Sergeant Scarlett Bernier, and she told me at the time how much they would enjoy having this, because this is how the National Guardsmen can move up in rank in our state. And literally hundreds, if not thousands, of our National Guardsmen, which are scattered all over our state, in our rural communities as well as our urban areas. This helps them with degrees. And so, great bill. I'm glad you stuck to it and brought it back again.
Mr. Chairman.
You're recognized.
It started as a pilot program. It was meant for recruiting. Now it's transitioning into a retention program and making a pathway for these talented captains to become light colonels and colonels. And that's the type of talent and leadership we need to retain, and that's one of the driving forces for bringing the bill before you today.
Do we have any other questions? Do I have? Oh, okay. So, I'm sorry. Oh, was that a call for the question? Call for the question. Do I have a second? Got a second. With no objection, we will vote on the motion. All in favor, vote aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee.
Thank you. And that bill goes to full committee. Next up, we have House Bill 0473. Believe I saw someone in the audience. Chairman White, there he is. Thank you. Chairman White, you're recognized.
You mean to present the bill from my seat, or you prefer I go up to the podium?
However you're comfortable, Chairman.
Okay, I'll just stay right here, members, if that's okay. Okay, House Bill 473, members. I will explain this. I did do the 24-hour advance notice if we get in the weeds and you need to ask our higher ed or TBR personnel that are here. But I think I can explain. This is actually a bill we passed back in 2018. And the purpose of it, and I explain what we're adding to it, is basically this would allow search committees to keep confidential the identifying records of candidates for these positions until a certain point in the process. So in our higher ed and or now in this bill, our TBR system is trying to select a new president or a new chancellor, then they can keep the search process confidential up to a certain point. Why is that necessary? Because when you're going after some of the best, and if they are going to put their name out there, say you're the president of a university in another state or in a corporation, and if your name was put out there, then it would cause you problems with maybe your current employer or your current university. So this is just a process we put in place back in 2018, which allows the university search committees to publicly name up to 3 finalists for both either a presidential or chancellor searches at our public universities. Keep it confidential until that point, till they come down to either 1, 2, or maybe up to 3 finalists. This means that the search committees may name between 1 and 3 finalists for public. The legislation does not change those important provisions. It does provide a needed tool to recruit the most equipped candidates to the state of Tennessee. In summary, this bill extends the current practice for selecting finalists for these positions and levels the playing field for chancellors and presidents across higher ed. Now, we passed this original bill in 2018. It was due to expire, I believe it was this year. So in the language, we are also extending this sunset date to July 1st of 2028. And that is basic what we're trying to do, is just so that we can, in higher ed and in our TBR system, we can go after the best candidates and keep it confidential until a certain point. With that, Mr. Chairman, I renew the motion on the bill, or answer any questions.
Thank you for that, Chairman. And procedurally, I may have made a faux pas just a moment ago. I do not think that I asked for a motion on the bill before I recognized you. Got motion on the bill. Do I get a second? And we will, how about give a ditto to Chairman White for what he just said. Thank you for that. Do we have any questions for the chairman? Seeing none. Do we have any comments from any of the members of the audience out here? Okay. Please, if you would, come forward.
Yeah, I did request a 24-hour, according to our rules. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. I've got it here right with me. We've got it timed.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
this is, yes, I'm sorry. We've been moving fast. This, yeah.
All right, so we're going to have a speaker. We're going to go out of session. go out of session just for a moment to have our speaker. Please, if you would, make sure the red light's on in front of you.
It is, okay.
And introduce yourself.
Thank you, and thank you, Chairman White, yes. I'm Debra Fisher, and I'm Executive Director of Tennessee Coalition for Open Government. And we've tracked this particular part of the law since it was first changed back in 2012, actually, and then expanded in 2018, and now would be retained and expanded slightly again to not just presidents but chancellors. And the thing that we have been interested in both in 2018 and now is that it does allow a search committee, as opposed to before, to just make public one applicant, the person that they consider the finalist. They can make as many as 3, as Chairman White explained, public, but if the search committee wanted to, they could just announce one applicant for chancellor or president. And so that's why we've really watched this piece of legislation, because in the past, all the applicants or 3 applicants or a certain number of applicants, you would know who applied for these positions. It does allow search committees to present as many as 3 finalists to a governing body, but no more than 3. It is capped. It does expand this to the chancellor positions, because previously in 2018 we didn't cover the chancellor at Knoxville, Chattanooga, Martin, the UT chancellor positions. I wanted to mention, just for information for you, that the Advisory Committee on Open Government, which was created by the General Assembly in 2008 to study open government issues, public records and open meetings issues, did study this issue back in the fall at the request of the General Assembly in the statute, and produced a report on that. I participated in that report, as did the co-chair of that advisory committee, which is Carrie Whitworth with UT. And so that is a good resource, and that, I think, was able to bring a lot of information to this bill. And one of the things we learned during the period since this passed in 2018 and now is that of the, there were 7 presidents hired at, none at the big colleges, but at the colleges of applied technology and at the community colleges under this provision. And in each instance, at least 2 finalist applications were made public. So that may still continue. We may still see colleges announce 2 applicants, or they may just announce 1, but that was something that we did hear. We did hear some information from stakeholders like the faculty who really have probably the biggest interest in the president of the university. And I'm not speaking for the faculty, but one comment that we did get from the faculty a faculty member from UT is they were more interested in being on the search committee and a part of that process more than anything else. So we're glad to see a repeal date on it, because we want to see how this continues to kind of evolve and what happens, and if it causes any problems, that access to who applied for these positions not being public except for maybe 1 person. Because we do think that, where we're coming from is we just want to make sure that there is a fair selection process, and that applicants are fairly considered, in terms of who ends up being selected for the position. So that has been the reason for the transparency of those applicants in the past, to ensure there is a good, diverse, and robust pool of applicants. So anyway, thank you for letting me speak, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you want me to.
Thank you for that, and I believe Chairman White's got a question.
Thank you very much, and I apologize, Ms. Fisher. We talked last week, and I'd already forgot that I asked you to come today, but that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we've talked about this in 2018, and also last week, Ms. Fisher represents open government, which we all want to respect and make sure that nothing's ever done behind. But she agrees, and I don't put words in your mouth, we all agree that up to a certain point, it's good that the search committee can keep it confidential for the reasons that I explained, but to keep an eye on things, make sure things don't go south at any time. But if we want the best chancellors and presidents for our higher education institutions in our state, I think having such a bill like this is advantageous. And Ms. Whitworth, I had you on the list too. Are you comfortable? You want to say anything? Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I need to go through you on that.
Would you like to come up and speak?
Or you
Any
can
other
answer.
questions for Ms. Fisher? Okay, thank you, Ms. Fisher. Appreciate that. Ms. Whitworth?
Well, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Thanks for the opportunity. Carrie Whitworth with the University of Tennessee. This is a very important piece of legislation to the university and to other public higher education stakeholders. Recruiting the best possible candidates during these searches is a high priority for us, and we need some tools to be able to do this. The statute is one of those tools. I will say there are very important transparency requirements in the statute presently. This does not change those. For example, it requires universities to make public candidates or finalists, 15 days prior to a board vote and deliberation. That deliberation is open to the public. That board meeting is noticed. We are required by law to have a public forum with those finalists 7 days prior to a board vote. And frankly, universities in this state have gone above and beyond the transparency requirements in the statute. We have live streamed those events. We have had more than one forum. We have really tried to be good actors in this space, but it is a tool that we believe is necessary. And I will just speak to the composition of search committees generally. The practice at the University of Tennessee is to have a very robust group of stakeholders on those search committees, community members, alumni, faculty, students, you name it. So that is our current practice when conducting a search.
Do we have any questions for Ms. Whitworth? All right, not seeing any. Thank you. Chairman White, I saw you had one more person on this list. Did you want to call anyone else to speak?
Why don't we just see if the members have any more questions, and if they do, we can bring the other person up. But I think, members, unless anyone has a question, I'm good.
Okay, wonderful. With that, you're recognized. Oh, we've got to gavel back in real quick. With that, we're back in session. Call for the question. Do I have a second? All right. Members, we'll be voting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Ayes have it. This bill will move to full committee. Thank you.
Thank you, committee.
Having such a short calendar makes for a quick day. Hope everybody else appreciates that too. Y'all, thank you for coming out. Have a good afternoon. We're adjourned.